Yesterday, something very interesting happened to me, and I want to tell you the story. I went to visit my grandmother who lives in a small village in the mountains. Her house is very old and beautiful with a big garden full of apple trees. She asked me to help her clean the attic because there were too many old boxes there. The attic was dark and dusty and it smelled like old paper and dry wood. I started to move some heavy chairs and old clothes. Suddenly, behind a large mirror, I saw a small wooden box. It looked very mysterious. It was made of dark oak wood and had a strange symbol carved on the top. I tried to open it, but it was locked. I shook the box gently, and I heard a sound inside. Something was rolling around. I ran downstairs to the kitchen and showed the box to my grandmother. When she saw it, she stopped cooking and sat down on a chair. She looked very surprised. She told me that she had not seen that box for 50 years. She said it belonged to my grandfather, who was a traveler and a writer. She told me to look for a small silver key in her jewelry box. I found the key and my hands were shaking a little bit because I was so excited. I put the key in the lock and turned it. The box opened with a loud click. Inside, there was no gold and no money. There was only an old map and a black notebook. I opened the notebook and read the first page. It said, "If you are reading this, you are ready for the adventure." I looked at the map and I realized that it was a map of our village, but there was a red cross near the river. My grandmother smiled at me and said, "Well, what are you waiting for? Go and find it." So I took my coat and the map, and I walked out of the door into the forest. The forest was very quiet. I could only hear the sound of the wind in the trees and the birds singing. I walked for about 20 minutes until I reached the river. The water was clear and cold. I looked at the map again. The red cross was marked near a large, gray rock that looked like a sleeping bear. I looked around, and suddenly I saw it. It was exactly like the drawing on the map. I ran to the rock and looked behind it. There was nothing there, just grass and some small yellow flowers. I felt a little bit sad. I thought, maybe I am too late. But then, I saw something shiny in the dirt. I started to dig with my hands. The ground was soft. After 2 minutes, I pulled out a small glass jar. It was dirty, but inside I could see a piece of paper. I was very excited. I sat down on the grass and opened the jar. The paper was old and yellow. I unfolded it carefully, because I did not want to break it. It was a letter from my grandfather dated 1975. I started to read the letter. The handwriting was beautiful but a little bit difficult to read because the ink was faded. I sat on the grass and the sun was warm on my back. He wrote, "My dear grandchild, I am writing this letter because I want to give you a gift. You are probably looking for gold or money, but I did not hide money here. I wanted you to find this place because it is my favorite place in the world. When I was a young man, I came here to think and to dream. I sat on this rock and listened to the river. I want you to look around you. Look at the tall trees, listen to the birds, and feel the wind. This beautiful world is your real treasure. I want you to be curious and brave. I want you to go on adventures, even if they are small. Do not stay inside the house all day. Go out and explore. I hope that today you feel happy and free. I love you very much." I read the letter 3 times. I felt tears in my eyes, but they were happy tears. I felt like my grandfather was sitting right next to me. I looked at the river, and for the first time, I really saw how beautiful it was. The water was shining like diamonds. I realized that he was right. The walk, the map, the mystery, and the fresh air were the real gift. I put the letter safely in my pocket and I whispered, "Thank you, grandfather." Then I started to walk back to the house. The sun was going down and the sky was pink and orange. When I arrived, my grandmother was waiting for me at the door. She saw my face and she smiled. She knew exactly what was in the letter. She did not ask me any questions. She just hugged me, and her hug was warm and strong. We went inside the house. It was getting cold outside, so she made a fire in the fireplace. The house smelled like apple pie and cinnamon. We sat together in the living room and drank hot tea. I showed her the letter, and she read it slowly. She wiped a tear from her eye and started to tell me stories about him. We talked for hours, we laughed, and we remembered him together. That night, I slept very well. I realized that the best things in life are not things you can buy in a shop. The best things are memories, family, and nature. I still have the old map on my wall today. Every time I look at it, I remember that sunny day and the lesson from my grandfather. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you liked it. Now, tell me in the comments, do you like adventures? Do you prefer the city or the countryside? I would love to read your answers. Goodbye, and and see you in the next video. The red cross was marked near a large, gray rock that looked like a sleeping bear. I looked around, and suddenly I saw it. It was exactly like the drawing on the map. I ran to the rock and looked behind it. There was nothing there, just grass and some small yellow flowers. I felt a little bit sad. I thought, maybe I am too late. But then, I saw something shiny in the dirt. I started to dig with my hands. The ground was soft. After 2 minutes, I pulled out a small glass jar. It was dirty, but inside I could see a piece of paper. I was very excited. I sat down on the grass and opened the jar. The paper was old and yellow. I unfolded it carefully because I did not want to break it. It was a letter from my grandfather dated 1975.